Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to NetGame. In today's video, we're going to be going through why this specific NBA playoff series changed the rules of the game. Now guys, real quick, before we do get into the countdown, I want to let you guys know that we will be picking one lucky subscriber every month to win a shout out at the start of a video. All you must do to enter is subscribe to our channel, like the video, and comment down below saying I subscribed. Good luck guys. In my opinion, the 2006 matchup between the Mavs and Spurs was the greatest second round series of all time. This series featured two future Hall of Fame power forwards going head to head in their primes. There was a lot at stake. The rivalry between the two teams was at its peak, and the reputations were on the line. First things first, coming into the series, the Mavs have never beaten the Spurs during the Dirk Nowitzki era. Dirk and the Mavs lost to the Spurs in 2001 and 2003, where he injured his knee, but now Dirk is surrounded by the best team he's had in his entire career, and he's ready to get his revenge. The Spurs, on the other hand, just won the championships in the previous season, and they were looking to win back-to-back titles for the first time in franchise history. And of course, they were led by the big three of Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker. The Mavs had their own big three of Dirk, Jason Terry, and Josh Howard, and they led the team to the #1 offense in the entire league. This series was a battle between the #1 offense and #1 defense in the league, and that's always fun to watch. So it was weird seeing the two best teams in the conference facing each other in the second round. Usually it should be in the conference finals. For comparison, the combined record of the Spurs and Mavs was higher than the combined record of the two teams in the finals that year, the Mavs and Heat. Alright, so let's get to the actual series in game. In game 1, neither team looks good offensively, and it was a slugfest, especially in the fourth quarter. Fortunately for the Spurs, they had an amazing strategy of throwing the ball to Duncan and letting him abuse Eric Dampier. Duncan finished the game with 31 points and 13 rebounds, and you'll notice this kind of performance became a trend every single game. Duncan actually averaged 32 points, 12 rebounds for assists, and nearly 3 blocks per game for the entire series, which was insane. And this was statistically the best playoff series of his career. Dirk and Jet both struggled, shooting a combined 14 for 38s, and the offensively dominant Mavs looked nothing like they did in the regular season. The game still came down to the final possession, but Jerry Stackhouse missed the game-winning three, so the Spurs won 87-85. Can the double team we that? Stack the ball, deep three, win. Game 2. Game 2 was the most lopsided game in this series. The Mavs built a 20-point lead at halftime and ended up winning the game quite easily, with Josh Howard, Devin Harris, and Dirk all scoring at least 20 points. It was as good of a game as they hoped. Everything went perfectly. Duncan still got his points, but the Mavs defense focused on limiting the play of their perimeter players. Parker injured nobody, where in game 2, partly because of Devin Harris, who played great defense on Parker, the 23-year-old Harris had the best playoff game of his career. Coach Avery Johnson inserted him into the starting lineup in a place of Adrian Griffin, and it was a great move, Johnson said. We thought we played a game pretty much our style. The pace of the game was a lot better than the pace in game 1. A lot of that had to do with Devin being out there. In games 3 and 4, the series shifted to Dallas, and the Mavs won to a hard-fought game by a total of just 6 points in game 3. Both teams were choking near the end. The score was 1-3, 1-4 in favor of the Mavs with 8 seconds left. The Spurs had possession and the chance to win, but Geno rarely lost the ball and turned it over. Then on the other end, they had to intentionally foul, so they fouled Jerry Stackhouse, who missed both of his free throws. So the Spurs had another chance with 2 seconds left, but Robert Horry missed the game-winning shots, and that was it in game 4. It was also really close throughout, and Duncan had a chance to win, but missed the game winner, so it went into overtime. Eventually, the Mavs pulled it off again and now have a 3-1 series lead in a post-game interview. Duncan was visibly upset at the officiating near the end of the game. He said one play either way, one call either way, whatever it may be. It came down to that. He still had an incredible game though, recording 31, 13, and 6. But for the Mavs, Dirk and Terry combined for 60 points, heading back to San Antonio down 3-1. The Spurs were perplexed, but they felt like they were still in the series. The last 2 losses in Dallas were really close, and like Duncan said, just one play could have made the difference between a win and a loss. So in game 5, it was yet another close game. Dirk finished with 31 and 10, while Duncan had 36 and 12. The Mavs had a chance to win the game and the series at the buzzer, but Bruce Bowe made a ridiculous defensive play, blocking Dirk from the back and forcing a jump ball. The Spurs won the game 98-97, and after the game, Dirk was asked about the block, and he said, "I didn't see him. He made a great defensive play. I probably could have picked one time and possibly created more separation, but give Bruce credit. He blocked me from behind, and that was a great play." And also in another turn of events after game 5 was over the league's office review and final seconds of the game, and found out that Terry threw a punch at Michael Finley, who was also his former teammate. Terry got suspended for a game 6, which was huge since he's been the Mavs' second best player in the series. This caused a huge controversy and Mark Cuban stepped in too. He defended Terry by saying that Michael Finley does a pile driver with his hip to Ginobili's head while he is on the ground. Ginobili is on his back with nobody laying on top of him. No question, he tried to get Finley off of him and he should be fined for that, but to suspend him is questionable if that's a punch. Jason certainly didn't get his money's worth. If his hand would have been open to getting fined often, we wouldn't be having this conversation, but the fact that his fist was closed when he reacted to him, they call it a punch. So yeah, this was crushing news for the Mavs. They needed Terry to win the series in game 6. It was another grind fest. The Mavs put up a good fight and Dirk recorded 26 points and 21 rebounds, but without Terry, they just did not have enough offense. They scored just 86 points and lost the game, and now the series is tied at 3 games apiece with game 7 in San Antonio in the final game. The Mavs and Spurs went back and forth with neither team being able to get an edge over the other. After Dirk tied the score up at 104, the Spurs had multiple chances to win the game, but they could not capitalize. They missed a few point blank shots and now we're headed into overtime. For Not Free Journal, he squeezed all the time. Now at this point in the game, Duncan was just dominating. He had almost 40 points and the Mavs had no answers for him at all. They were on the verge of blowing a 3-1 series lead and losing to the Spurs again. However, just as they thought it was over a ray of hope, it just appeared out of nowhere in the form of the 24-year-old center, a second Job. Up until this point, Job barely played any crunch time minutes in the series and averaged only 2 points per game in the regular season, but it was his defense on Duncan that saved them from the elimination. The unsung hero stopped Duncan in the post for 3 or 4 straight possessions and held him to just 1-4-7 shooting in overtime. The Mavericks finally pulled off the win after Dirk's buckets. They won the game 119 to 111, almost blowing a 3-1 lead, but a win is a win. Derek beat the Spurs for the first time in his career. Well, there you have it guys, that was why this specific NBA playoff series changed the rules of the game. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Also, make sure you don't miss out on our monthly shoutout giveaway. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next video.